Back to another episode of Faith in Home Buying, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Um, I um, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized, and the reason why, I just recently came back from one of my first speaking engagements, and talking about social media and its effect on your business. And needless to say, I was nervous. I was absolutely nervous, and I felt absolutely intimidated, just because the speakers that were there, like they had a pretty big presence on social media, and they pretty big accounts, and just they're realtors as well. And I went in with the foresight and the knowledge of just thinking, okay, God, there's obviously a reason why I was invited, in order to speak and just present on who I am and how I use social media to my advantage. And truth be told, getting there, have the slideshow. I mean, if anything could go wrong, like with your slideshow and you're nervous as heck, well, yeah, that kind of happened to me. I'm thinking that we can, cast my phone onto the crowd so they can see everything that's being on the screen, and that sure didn't happen, because I found out later that I couldn't do that. Yeah, of course, that's going to change things in my presentation, right? And so then I find out too that my slides, as it was up on the screen, I'm introducing myself and look at the screen like, oh my goodness, my my words are all messed up on the screen. Not good. And had checked it before, it was fine, but I guess just they were doing something. I was adding something, one little thing, and it ended up messing up my presentation. So needless to say, I was sweating bullets, because it's only for 30 minutes, so you want to make a good impression, right? So ultimately, it's like, God, in this situation, I just really need you to take over. And it just taught me just that lesson on, Lord, even in this time of weakness right now, I need your strength, because I really want to get your word out. And even though this is a completely, not a non-Christian type of event, it still, for me, was a big impact on how I utilize my business in order to celebrate my clients. And I really wanted to show a different way on how to use, like, for instance, TikTok, real estate underscore T, to how to use TikTok, and then, Instagram, and how I utilize that when I celebrate my clients. It's fun, and that's my personality, that's who I am, and it organically produces more people who actually want to work with me. And versus it just being just a mode of generating business, or mode of prospecting for buyers. And I think I got that across. But the cool thing about it is, once I got into like the zone of playing the TikTok, and if you haven't seen any of my TikToks, I encourage you to go to real estate underscore T and just check it out. But I played one of them, and after playing one of them, and that one actually did pretty good. It didn't go necessarily viral, but it went out pretty live. I mean, there was over 20,000 views on it on one platform, then another platform about 74,000 views. So not too bad, right? And so when I played that one, people, they applauded. And I was like, okay, whew, I'm in my zone. I'm in where I'm supposed to be, right? This is the vein. This is it. And then I played another one that was a little bit of a different one. It wasn't as dancing. I wasn't dancing on, I think it was probably because I was dancing on the other one, but I wasn't dancing on this one. But it told a story about one of my clients, that, got their keys the same day they got their green card. And then you heard the crowd go, oh, oh, that's, so then it kind of brought to me like, okay, this is what you're here for. And even though your slides messed up, honestly, the point getting across on, how you utilize the media. It's better just to show it versus just to talk about it anyway. And in the end, I left my impact. I was able to have about 70 plus, pretty awesome influencers and social media folks do a TikTok at the end. And it just was one of the highlights of the whole conference. And, I look at that and I say, well, Lord, I didn't think that I got out everything that I needed to say, but I think I left a lasting impact on just who I am. And I left enough of an impact where at the end was able to speak to a lot of people about just getting their start on social media and just trying it. And for some, it was their first TikTok that they did. And some of them I stayed after and showed them even how to do one, right? I don't know. And it was always just leading me back to this particular, verse in Proverbs 18, 15 and 16, I believe it is, where it says, intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. Giving a gift can open doors. It gives access to important people. And a lot of times, or your gift will make room for you is what a lot of times I've heard. But, the gift of, when you think that, when you think that you're kind of like the low one on the totem pole in the particular room, and then you have to really remind yourself, God, you've created me for such a time as this. You've given me a gift to share. You've given me a gift that has opened and is opening up doors of opportunity for other people and to other people, important people, so that, influence can be, shifted and looked at. And I'm thankful for that. And so any way that I can leave a lasting impact with this gift that you've given me, and mine just happens to be real estate because this is my medium, right? I want to seize every single moment. So I thank you for just even the small gift that you've given me that I was able to share with other people. So hopefully that little story encourages someone to go and do it. You have everything that it takes. There's obviously something that someone saw in you in order to, invite you to the table. And when you're at that table, make every point to share exactly what God has given you, because you'd be surprised. You are uniquely made. You're wonderfully made. You're different, and you're different on purpose. And the world needs difference, and they don't need everyone the same. And it's okay, because not everyone is your cup of tea, and not everyone will, agree with how you do things or how you work with social media or whatever the case may be. But I think in the end, knowing that you're being authentic, that you're being yourself, that you're being, none other than what you were created to be. I think that right there will shine forth through and through to a lot of people that you come around. So yeah, so hats off to that. So hopefully someone is leveling up at some point in their life. But I do want to talk about, I have a story that I want to talk about today. That's going to be in my second half. But one of the things that I had just kind of dropped the ball on, I'm seriously, I've been dropping the ball on this recently, and I usually be really good at it, but home warranties, don't negate your home warranties. And it's a great thing now, because home warranties actually do cover the rekeying of homes. And I keep forgetting that I need to tell my clients this. I need to put this on one of my checklists of things that I need to do for my clients. But home warranty, it covers, sometimes appliances, all depending on what you have checked off, but appliances, washer, dryer, refrigerator. It also covers, the inside of the house, like different things like the water heater that may have been working during the transaction, but then all of a sudden it ends up breaking as you become the owner. That's another thing that a home warranty can cover. Piping, electrical, things like even which I now know too, is a roof coverage as well. Like if there's certain things that are going on later on with the roof. There's also just a good, and so how it works as far as a home warranty, you pick a place. A lot of times I pick Fidelity, but it really all depends. You pick a place And, I say the cost, for maybe a 1,200 square foot home or so, it's probably about like, I don't know, 600,000, or not 600,000, $600 or $650 or so, but it's covered for the whole year. And so a lot of times it's this seller that pays for like a home warranty for the whole year for the buyer, and it covers their butt and it also covers their buyer's butt. But what you do is you call in, something breaks or it's a piping or whatever the case may be. You call it in and tell them what the situation is. It was working before, it's not working now. There's a problem, and they will, for a small fee. So it's either like $60, $75 or so that you would pay, and they would come out and service whatever it is. So if it's if they can fix it, they'll fix it. If not, they will replace it with something of the like. So just, I just want to make sure that people understand about your wonderful home warranties. And if you don't have one, I would absolutely, it is a great investment for a year's time, and to keep it going and keep renewing it, because it's so important. And it saved a lot of my clients thousands of dollars. We're talking about, even for like a microwave, or like that kind of a built-in, a refrigerator. It saved my clients thousands of dollars because the refrigerator ended up going out. And so they actually were able to get it replaced, and, say it, I think another client, it was something with a pipe that had leaked underneath the sink. And guess what? They were able to replace the pipe, and, only had to come out of pocket $70, but that was like a, $700 replacement on labor and in parts. So don't forget your home warranty. But in my next segment, I'm going to talk about a nice story that just recently happened, a recent close. And man, let me tell you, there were so many ups and downs and lefts and rights and twists and turns that I myself was just like, Lord, I hope this thing closes, and I hope I'm able to get these clients into homes, because they were also good friends of mine. So stay tuned for that story. It's a great one. They finally got their keys the other day, and I'm just super proud of them, but I do want to share it. So stay tuned. Tamika Ellsworth, Faith in Home Buying, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. All right. So, okay, story time. So as I kind of said in the beginning, had a great, just weekend, just how I celebrate clients. And so client celebration have a great story. So this particular couple, I knew them. They're great friends of mine, and they've been talking about for years now that they're going to get their first home. And luckily that, they still want me to be their, they still wanted me to be their realtor in order to help them find a home. Right. And so, they were saving. So about a year, went by, they saved all their money. They got their credit together. Okay. Yes. Pre-approval. Now we are ready to go and search for a home. And so we were searching, and this is in the thick of like, June. We the thick of the craziness with buyers and, prices and the outrageous numbers that, we were hitting in the summertime, kind of like the spring, summer, and missed out on a whole bunch of homes. I think there was maybe 4 or 5 homes that we had offered on. And hey, look, I'm good, but man, oh man, in a hard market, and our price point was extreme. It was like under 600, under 700. That's a tough price point in order to get, especially when people were going 120 and $150,000 over what list price is, and then even over what appraisal price is. It's just crazy. Ultimately, they wanted to stay in Oakland, but we were looking at Richmond, San Pablo, but they really wanted to be in Oakland. The thing about it is, just neighborhoods are just so important. And, when you're in a neighborhood that just doesn't, celebrate just who you are, or it doesn't matter, lifestyle wise, anything like that. It's just, you want neighbors, you want people around that, hopefully are nice, that are kind, that, just kind of respect you and your family and your household. And when they were renting and stuff, one of the things that had happened is that it had just had bad neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, and people just being really cruel. And so my goal was to make sure that whatever neighborhood that we went into, it was a great neighborhood. It was a neighborhood that would be a great fit, probably even more than the house. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we ended up seeing a particular home. They went on the open house and saw a home in Oakland. Loved the block. And as a matter of fact, the home, little small little thing, little cute little home. But more importantly, they had noticed the block and the people that are around, talked to the neighbors. Now, mind you, please, my clients, they are very, very colorful in colors, in that color and just zeal and just who they are. And that's one of the reasons why I just love them. And I wanted to do whatever I needed to do to try to get them a home. This is a home that they identified. They had spoke to the listing agent on that. I was representing them obviously as a buyer. And we put in an offer. Long story short, we have an offer on the table, and there was a counter offer that should have came back to us. Well, we never got the counter offer, and come to find out that the listing agent was fired. They were going back and forth, I guess the sellers and the agent, and ultimately, long story short, she was fired. And now where did that leave my clients? And so I told, the listing agent, I was like, hey, there's ready, able buyers, here with a, decent, price point. We were going to come in at the price that you wanted. And it's in limbo. Okay. So in limbo for quite a while. And so I reached out myself because obviously no more, this wasn't anymore. So reached out as a, pretty much an agent or just a person, and reached out and actually was able to find them on Facebook. And left them a message, written down like, hey, I have clients, buyers that really want your home, and this is who they are. This is who I am. And, I know that things are going on with, your listing agent, but I'd be willing to represent both sides, and I'll make it worth your while. And which you can do, but it takes a lot of making sure that it's called a dual agency, but it takes a lot of making sure that everything is disclosed. And in my office, we usually have someone that will represent, either a buyer or a seller, just so to make sure that each party is making sure that they're getting proper representation. Either way, long story short, I ended up was able to do a dual agency representing both, my company representing both buyer and seller. And going through this process, man, oh man, it even took there were so many delays. Like the first delay was with getting the appraisal. And I'm going to talk about appraisals at some point, but man, these appraisals and how they've been happening, I mean, they're usually supposed to they're usually supposed to cost anywhere between $500 and $600. That's typical. But man, there's appraisals going $1,200, $1,500. And my clients were just like, I'm not trying to pay $1,500 on a barely 1,000 square foot home. And it should have been, something a lot less. So we waited on that, and we finally were able to find an appraiser that would do it at a decent price point. So that's, a whole week delay. We ended up finding one. Excellent. Got it back. It appraised. Thank the Lord for that. But that wasn't the only delay. There was another delay. What happened with the sellers? There was a demand that needed to be, and when I say demand, there was other things that they owed on the house, not just the mortgage, IRS, whatever it may be. There's demands, and it was taking forever for these demands in order to for the title company to get the payoff information from these. And 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed, and I'm calling and I'm doing all that I could possibly do, emailing in order to find out what's going on. What can I do in order to get this process to go faster? In that process, their rate lock, which is usually about, 30 days, 45 days, that was about to end. So it was about to be a mess in a couple of days if we couldn't close this home. And it was going to cost my clients more money as buyers. Okay. And so because it was going to cost them more money as buyers, I had to, really kind of kick it into overdrive and let the sellers know that we have to have a resolve. Well, luckily, we finally had a resolve. They got the payoff information, and now we're thinking like, okay, we're ready to go. We're almost going to close. And, my clients are just getting really, really antsy. They want to move in. They want to get their home. Well, here he is. We're supposed to be closing on a Friday. Okay. Got everything in, supposed to be closing on a Friday. Well, that didn't happen. There was a delay with the county for recording. So like when it records, that means it changes hands. There was a delay in the recording. So that actually ended up having to close like on a Monday versus a Friday. So you had to go a whole nother weekend after waiting about 3 months, going another weekend. Patience is a virtue, right? Get to that Monday, and guess what? There was another delay. From the city on closing, because they found there was an error on the notary acknowledgement. So they had to pull the darn file, and we couldn't close on that day. So we actually ended up closing the day after. So yes, needless to say, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of sweat, and it was a lot of putting out fires. It was a lot of sorries, and it was a lot of making sure that I, as the agent, kept everything together and was able to manage expectations along with managing emotions, because emotions do ride high. If even from the seller's perspective to the buyer's perspective. Long story short, and moral to the story is, when you're faced, and even as an agent, when you're faced with opposition and faced with even in this one, faced with the idea that, wow, my clients, I know that this neighborhood and I know that this home fits them. It fits them to the T. What can I do as an agent to make sure, and it's not even about the money at all. What can I do as an agent to make sure that this neighborhood and this home it ends up being my clients? And I was, determined, even when, kind of reaching out to the sellers and saying, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. It's the tenacity, right? It's saying that a lot of times the neighborhood sells the home. And it's so hard, you can modify a house, but it's so hard to get into a neighborhood in a community that, you as a buyer know that you will enjoy, because this is pretty much going to be their forever home. And, was just so happy to see that, in the process, in the end, the smile and the joy on my client's face at the end, and just the celebration of knowing that finally, and they're a little bit older age, they're not young chickens, spring chickens, right? But, they finally persevered, and they finally got the keys to their own home. And so I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of block parties. It's a small little block. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of block parties and celebrations at certain times. But I just want to share that story, because sometimes deals, they go quickly. And some, you have a lot more ups and downs with them. But I think in the end of knowing that you stick with it, you still remain patient, you remain calm, you remain professional, to make sure that in the end, the goal is accomplished. And what's the goal? The goal is to make sure that these clients, these buyers, these friends get the home that will be in their family and in their life, probably much for the rest of their lifetime. So it was a happy ending, happening yesterday, and, just kind of set my week up for goodness, and made me realize that this is why I do it. It's that celebration. It's how I celebrate my clients, and why I enjoy doing what I do. And even though I had a little, fumble over the weekend on one of my first speaking engagements, it still brought to the reality that, what, I do have a gift. You have a gift. We have a gift, and that we need to share it with the world. So thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Faith in Home Buying. And hopefully you enjoyed this story. Hopefully one of these stories can be yours. Remember, you can contact me, 408-561-7922. This is Tamika Ellsworth, Faith in Home Buying, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Stay blessed.